All right, let's dive into something that so many of us struggle with. We're going to tackle a huge question in health today. Why is it that you can do everything right, the diet, the exercise, and still see zero results? We're going to look at how some really cool technology, when you pair it with some basics we all overlook, can finally give us the answers we've been looking for.
So does this sound familiar? You're counting every calorie, you're cutting out carbs, you're following the latest, greatest diet plan to the letter, and nothing. The scale just doesn't move. It is an unbelievably frustrating cycle to be stuck in. And, as we're about to find out, there's a really powerful biological reason why this happens to so many of us.
Okay, this right here gets to the absolute heart of the problem. Picture this. Two different people eat the exact same healthy banana. For person A, their blood sugar stays nice and stable, great energy source. But for person B, that same banana causes a massive blood sugar spike. You know, the kind that leads to a crash. Why? It's something called bio-individuality, and it is the #1 reason that one-size-fits-all diets are pretty much destined to fail.
So, if we're all so different, how do we get out of this guessing game? Well, that brings us to a really powerful piece of tech that basically acts like a dashboard for your own body.
It's called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM for short. Now, you might have seen these before. They were first developed for people with diabetes, but now they're becoming this incredible tool for anyone who wants to understand their health. It's a small wearable that tells you, minute by minute, exactly what your blood sugar is doing in response to everything you eat, do, and even how you feel.
And as nutrition specialist Kristina Hess says, the real power here isn't about someone telling you what to do, it's the feedback loop. When you can see the data with your own eyes, in real time, the motivation to change just happens. You don't need a lecture.
And this is that aha moment that people talk about. You know, you might think a bagel is a perfectly fine breakfast, but when you look at your phone and see a graph of your blood sugar shooting through the roof and then crashing down, you know. And then the next day, you have eggs and avocado and see a nice, flat, stable line for hours, well, the choice for tomorrow's breakfast becomes pretty darn obvious. It's personal, it's immediate, and you just can't argue with it.
But here's where it gets really interesting. A CGM doesn't just show you how you react to food. It starts to reveal how everything impacts your metabolism. And the data is showing that some of the biggest game changers aren't the food we eat, but these 4 powerful metabolic levers that most of us just completely ignore.
The first one, and maybe the most important of all, is sleep. We think of it as just downtime, but metabolically speaking, it's one of the most active and crucial parts of your day. Get this. According to one landmark study, after just 2 nights of bad sleep, your appetite can shoot up by a massive 24%. Just let that sink in. You're nearly a quarter more hungry, not because you lack willpower, but because your hormones have been completely thrown out of whack.
So here's what's actually happening inside your body. Poor sleep causes leptin, that's the hormone that tells you, hey, I'm full, to drop. At the same time, it causes ghrelin, the hormone that screams, I'm hungry, to skyrocket. That hormonal 1-2 punch is exactly what's behind those intense cravings for pizza and donuts. It's not a moral failing, it's just biology. Okay, so once our night is dialed in, our next lever kicks in the very moment we wake up. And this one might surprise you. It's sunlight. And we're not just talking about vitamin D here, we're talking about timing. This is a pretty wild finding from some major research. It turns out that the simple act of getting sunlight in the morning is directly linked to having a lower body mass index. And get this is true even after you account for diet, exercise, and how much you slept. So what's going on? Well, that morning light is a crucial signal for your body's master clock. That clock controls your circadian rhythm, which isn't just about sleep. It's a master regulator for your entire metabolism. Getting that light signal first thing in the morning literally sets your body up for a successful metabolic day. Our third lever is probably the simplest one of all. And yeah, it's the one we're most likely to completely forget about: water.
So how much of a difference can plain old water actually make? One study found that drinking about 17 ounces of water that's a normal-sized water bottle can temporarily boost your metabolic rate by 30%. 30%, just from a glass of water.
This effect actually has a name. It's called water-induced thermogenesis, and it kicks in fast, within 10 minutes, and peaks about half an hour later. It's a simple, free, measurable metabolic boost that so many of us are missing out on, just because we're a little bit dehydrated.
And while we're managing all these physical things like water and light, we have to talk about the biggest invisible factor of them all:
stress. This is not just in your head. It has a very real, very physical impact on your body.
So when you're stressed out, your body pumps out the hormone cortisol. Now, we need cortisol to survive, but when it's high all the time, it does something very specific. It signals your body to store fat, and it especially loves to store it right around your midsection. Research has shown that women who have a bigger cortisol reaction to stress consistently carrying more belly fat no matter what their overall weight is.
So what do we do with all this information? How do we combine this high-tech data with these super fundamental principles? Well, it all points to a completely new way of thinking about our health and our bodies. Here it is, the new playbook. Step 1, before you even think about changing a single thing you eat, master the basics. Make sleep a priority, get that morning light, drink your water, and manage your stress. Those are the absolute foundations. Step 2, then you bring in the technology. Use a tool like a CGM to get real-time data and start to learn your body's unique language. And finally, step 3 is to personalize. You use that data to stop following generic rules and start responding to what your body is actually telling you it needs.
Which really brings us to this final thought. For years, we've been asking the same question. What's the best diet? Which plan should I follow? But what if we've been asking the wrong question all along? What if we started asking a much smarter, much more personal question? What does my body actually need right now? It turns out the answer to that question is finally within our reach.
I stopped trying to find a doctor who would listen, and I did this instead. For years, I was doing everything right. Eating clean, exercising, getting 8 hours of sleep, but I was still exhausted, I had constant brain fog, and my hormones felt completely out of whack. Every doctor told me my labs were normal, and it was probably just stress. I was about to give up until I found Holistic Health. It's a free AI wellness tool trained by functional medicine experts. I spent 5 minutes answering questions about everything: my symptoms, my sleep, my digestion, and it built me this. And this was the light bulb moment. It didn't just give me a list of problems, it connected the dots. It showed me how my gut health was likely impacting my hormones and how that was causing the fatigue and the brain fog. It even gave me a clear list of potential root causes, supplements to research, and even the specific lab tests to ask for. Its tip is secure, over 77,000 people have used it, and it's 100% free to get your blueprint. If you feel like you're not being heard, start here. Understand your body first and then decide your next step.